Welcome to the JJ's Declutter podcast. I'm Julie, and we are kicking off something really exciting today. I think it's going to make February your most productive decluttering month yet. We're introducing our February Alphabet Declutter Challenge. But before we dive into A through Z, we need to tackle the most important question of all. What actually counts as decluttering something that starts with A or B or heaven help us, X?
And I'm Janice, and let me tell you, this question comes up every single time we run this challenge. People get so caught up in the rules, trying to figure out if they're doing it right, that they forget the whole point is to just make progress. So today we're going to clear up all the confusion, give you permission to be creative, and basically tell you how to win this challenge without losing your mind over the letter Q.
So here's the deal, and I want you to really hear this because it's going to save you so much stress. When we say A is for accessories, we're not talking about finding one lonely ankle bracelet from 1987 in the back of your jewelry box and calling it a day. Although, honestly, if that ankle bracelet is all you have time for today, that works too. Progress, not perfection. But what we're really talking about is opening that jewelry box and that scarf drawer and actually letting go of what no longer serves you is really a good thing. This is about tackling a category, not playing hide and seek with individual items and declaring victory when you find one thing.
Exactly. Think categories, not counting on your fingers like you're trying to reach some magic number. B is for books means you get to address that tower of paperbacks next to your bed. The bookshelf you haven't dusted in 3 years because you have to move all the books. And maybe even those cookbooks in the kitchen that you've never once opened. It doesn't mean you rescue one book from the donate pile and pat yourself on the back. And C is for clothes. Oh, honey, that gives you permission to finally face that closet situation we've all been avoiding. You know, the one where you can't actually see what you own because it's packed in there like a clothing Tetris game.
The letter is your focus for the day. But here's the beautiful part you get to decide how deep you dive. Maybe a day you spend just 12 minutes on accessories and you feel great about it. Or maybe you're on a roll and you spend an hour really working through everything. Both of those count. Both of those are wins. We're not here to tell you that you failed because you didn't declutter every single accessory you own in one session. Nah, the alphabet is giving you a framework. It's giving you a place to start, not a rigid set of rules that you have to follow perfectly or else you're doing it wrong.
And this is where people get tripped up every single time. They think there's a finish line for each letter, like they have to completely solve that category in one day. But that's not how life works. And it's definitely not how sustainable decluttering works. If you have a massive book collection, B Day might be the day you start addressing it, and maybe you come back later. On B Day, you start with the bookshelf, and then on H Day, you tackle your hardcovers, and on P Day, you tackle the paperbacks. I mean, make it work for you. If your accessories are pretty minimal, you might breeze through A in 10 minutes. The goal is to make progress on that category, to touch it, to give it attention, and to let go of at least something that's no longer serving your life.
Now, let's address the elephant in the alphabet room. Those tricky letters that make people want to quit the challenge before they even start. X, Q, Z, or Z if you're from across the pond. These are not your friends, and unless you happen to own a xylophone collection or you've got some
Or your
kind of
name is
key,
Quinna.
or your name is Quinna. Oh, that's too funny. Um, or you have a quinoa hoarding problem. We need to talk about that. And it's completely okay. You have our full permission to get creative here. And when I say creative, I mean really creative. X can be extra stuff. You know, all those duplicates and extras you don't need. You can also just take the stuff that you have and put it in the shape of an X on the floor and call it good. Q can be things I'm questioning, items you're not sure about, things that are making you feel guilty. Z can be zones you never use in your home, which is, or you can just admit defeat and make it a Zoom call cleanup day where you organize your digital life.
Here's the secret tip, and this is important. The alphabet is your framework, not your prison warden. It's not the boss of you. If Tuesday is supposed to be T Day, but you're staring at a mountain of magazines on M Day and you're finally feeling motivated to tackle them, guess what? Those magazines magically become things to read, and boom, you're back in business. We're not going to show up to your house and check that you did the right letter on the right day. The goal is progress, not perfection, and definitely not stressing over whether your tea towels count as towels or should wait for K for kitchen items.
You want to know what really matters? That you're taking action, that you're making decisions, that you're letting go of things that are weighing you down. Whether they start with A or Z or some creative interpretation that you came up with at 10 o'clock at night. I had someone in our Clutter Crushers Club who made X Day exhausting items, things that were exhausting her just by existing in her space. So it was brilliant. Another person made Q Day quit keeping this. All the stuff she knew she should let go of, but kept making excuses for. That was also brilliant.
And can't we talk about how some letters are absolute clutter gold mines while others are pretty slim pickings? P could keep you busy for a week. Papers, pens, purses, plastic containers that have lost their lids, pet items. You know, you got the picture, right? Pillows, plants that have died, but you're keeping the pots just in case. Meanwhile, Jay might have you scratching your head until you remember those junk drawers, that jacket collection, or all those jars you've been saving for some mysterious future project. Don't feel like you need to spend equal time on every letter. 10 minutes on Q and an hour on C, perfectly legitimate. 30 seconds on X and 2 hours on P, also fine. But don't work for 2 hours without taking a break.
Absolutely. So, the beauty of this challenge is that this is what I love about it. It fits your home and your clutter, not some perfect Instagram version of decluttering where everything is white and minimal and looks like nobody actually lives there. You live with cats? Well, C Day just got a whole lot more interesting because now you're dealing with cat toys and cat beds and cat scratching posts, and everything's covered in cat hair. Or you're a crafter? Oh boy, S Day for supplies might require reinforcements and possibly a support group because we all know crafters have supplies for hobbies they haven't touched in 5 years, but might want to take up again someday.
Let the alphabet meet you where you are. That's the whole point of this challenge. If you're a reader with hundreds of books, B Day is going to be significant. If you barely own any books, breeze through it and move on. If you're someone who loves kitchen gadgets, K Day might be an all day affair. If your kitchen is pretty minimal, you might be done in 20 minutes. The challenge adapts to your life, your home, your clutter personality. It's not a one size fits all situation, and anyone who tells you it is hasn't actually helped real people declutter their real homes.
And here's something we see all the time. People get really creative with their interpretations based on what they need to tackle. So M could be mail, magazines, medicine, makeup, or just messy areas that need attention. S could be sentimental items, shoes, sports equipment, or stuff in storage. The stuff in storage you haven't looked at in 3 years. The alphabet gives you a starting point. but you get to customize it to address what's actually causing problems in your home. If your biggest issue is paperwork, you can make P Day your Super Bowl and really go deep.
One of my favorite examples from a past challenge was someone who made Tea Day things I'm keeping out of guilt. All those gifts she didn't like, items from deceased relatives she felt obligated to keep, stuff she bought on sale and never used but felt bad about wasting. She spent 2 hours on Tea Day and let go of an entire carload of stuff. Meanwhile, her X Day took about 5 minutes because she just didn't have anything that fit. Both days were successful. Both days moved her forward. That's what we're aiming for here. Forward motion, not perfect execution.
So there's one last thing, and this is so important. I want you to really take this in. You're allowed to bend the rules without breaking your spirit. Skip a day because life happened? That's fine. Jump back in tomorrow. Want to start with a letter that's calling your name instead of A? Go for it. Maybe your car is a disaster and you want to start with C for car instead of A for accessories. Although, as Janice says, it could be A for auto. So just do it. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by your garage and you want to tackle G first. Perfect. The alphabet will still be there, I promise. And combine two wimpy letters into one session. Maybe you can make up your own letters that better fit your clutter. Yes, please.
The alphabet police are not coming to arrest you. I can guarantee that. This challenge is supposed to make decluttering feel manageable and maybe a little fun, not turn you into someone who's panicking at midnight because you can't find anything that starts with K and you think you've failed. You haven't failed. You're showing up. You're making an effort. And that is literally what we're asking. Even if you only complete half the alphabet in February, that's 13 categories you address that you probably wouldn't have touched otherwise.
And here's the other thing. You can repeat this challenge. We have people in our community who do the alphabet challenge twice a year because their clutter situation changes and new stuff comes in. Different areas need attention. Maybe this February you focus on one interpretation of each letter, and next time you do it, you tackle a different angle. A could be accessories this time and attic next time. P could be papers this time and plastic containers next. The challenge keeps working for you because you keep adapting it to what you need.
So, as we launch into this challenge together, I want you to remember these key things: categories over single items, creativity over rigidity, and progress over perfection. Whether A is for accessories, attic treasures, arbitrary stuff you can't even categorize, or ugh, I'll do this another day, you're showing up and that's what counts. You're giving yourself a framework to tackle areas of your home that probably feel overwhelming when you look at them as one giant mess.
The alphabet breaks it down into manageable bite-sized pieces, which we also call small, doable doses. It gives you permission to focus on just one thing at a time instead of trying to declutter your entire house at once, which is how people get overwhelmed and give up. So it makes the whole process feel less like this massive, impossible task and more like a game or a scavenger hunt. And honestly, some of our community members get really competitive with themselves about how creative they can get with the tough letters. And that energy is amazing.
So, February 2nd, we're starting with A, and I cannot wait to see what everyone tackles, whether it's accessories, attic, art supplies, or absolutely anything else you come up with. Just remember, you're not aiming for perfection, you're aiming for progress. You're not trying to win some imaginary decluttering Olympics. You're trying to make your home work better for your life now. And any step in that direction is a win.
Now, let's go find something that starts with a C and curate it out of your home. In other words, let it go. Take a picture, Share it with us in the community. Cheer on someone else who's doing the challenge. And let's make this February the month we actually make a dent in our clutter using the world's most familiar framework, the alphabet we all learned in kindergarten.
Happy decluttering, friends. Join us live on February 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for a Jumpstart party. Fair warning, this party features 0 birthday cake. But hey, if the mood strikes you to clutter those dusty cake pans and expired sprinkles, we'll cheer you on.
Absolutely, we will. So make sure you join us at www.abcdeclutter.com and you'll be ready to go too. With all that being said, keep it simple.
Keep it intentional.
And as always,
keep
decluttering.
You keep telling me don't pause after the always. So